So what I decided to do here is go ahead and I'm going to drill these out, and difficult to get an exact center here, but all right, so I'm going to start drilling these out. Let's see if this will do the trick here. I drilled them out a little more, and we'll see if this allows me to remove whatever is plugging this thing. There we go. See, that's what you want to get out of there. There we go. See? And all I did was use just a drywall screw. So there you have. These are open now. By the way, I drilled these to with a 1/8 inch bit. Now I'm thinking that what size is this thing? 1024. Maybe I'll go with a 1032. That I think would be a good size. But before I start tapping these, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run to the store. I'm going to write some notes for myself, and I'm going to make sure that they have the actual set screws, the right size rather, so I don't end up making 2 trips. Let's give this a try, see what happens. I don't want to go super deep with this. I think that may work. And I bought these set screws here. I think the longer one is going to be better. Okay, let's try this again. And I'm going to use thread sealer. I'm just test fitting this thing and see how it needs to go a ways in there. So maybe I'm going to use these are 3/8. I think I'm going to go with a 1/4 inch. Okay, let's see if I can show you this. They are tapped, both of them. So next I'm going to install the set screws, and I'm going to use some thread sealer just to make sure there's not going to be any issues. And that's about it. So before I put this thing back together, I wanted to show you a couple of things I did. I went ahead and added some tank weld. It's an epoxy, and it's it works really well. This thing hardens like a rock. So I took care of a couple of areas that are sometimes prone to leaking, like that spot there, and of course the secondary wells. This is the product I'm talking about. It's made by JB Weld. Again, I try to make these very thin here. You don't need to put big gobs. This is the area that I tapped and where I used the set screws. And the reason mainly is because if you put something kind of like a big gob of epoxy or something like that, you're going to have trouble getting those wells past this area here, because this is where they're going to go. So be mindful of that. I much rather have this type of repair instead of the epoxy. I didn't want to go through the expense or the process of using plugs. They're about anywhere from $10 to $15 each. They have O-rings, so they're really good, but you still have to remove the plugs, which can be a little tricky because these, you would have to access them through here with a rod or something, but there's a bend down toward the bottom part, so I guess you can use a flexible, somewhat flexible rod, insert in there, and then tap it in order to remove the plugs. And frankly, in this case, I just went ahead and used the tank weld, and this is hard as a rock, so I think that's going to take care of that issue here, in the front here, and on the side.